just what I think, right? I'm one of many, fuck that, one and only. Not the son of Tony, but the son of Valentino. A bambino, blessed with a talent. I've been hotter than a jalapeno since I got in the game, like a shot in a vein. I've been hooked, fuck a rock in the range. You man are not in my lane. You can't deal with the velocity. I won't stop till I'm on top like an apostrophe.
VIP, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for coming down. Always a pleasure to have you in the house.
It's like the British Embassy for Graff.
You can say that.
With VIP, what's your intention? What are you projecting? What's your
My
why?
projection is I started this with a dream, which a lot of people find it hard to believe, but it's a fact. I find graffiti to be like a little bubble, and then when someone strange like myself comes into that bubble, they all look at me like, what's he want, what's he want? Bro, I don't want nothing. I came in naive, to be honest with you. I mean, you know my story, the dream I had and how I started this. So I really never quite grasped what I was going into. And I'm understanding it and I dig it, and the reason I dig it is because I'm from the road. You know, I'm 60 years old, but some of the things that are being done now, I did in the 70s, 80s, you know? So there's nothing there that shocks me, if you know what I mean. Of course. I do believe, you know, you do things, so hopefully one day there's a legacy there. And if there is, there is. And if there isn't, I've given love to the community. That's how I see it. The whole shop got vandalised, as you could say, or robbed, whatever. I was away on holiday, so there was really not a lot I could do about it. When I returned back in early September, to my disgust, I had nothing left there. So I had to make a decision. Do I carry on doing what I did before, or do I pack up and go? I decided to reopen the store as a sports shop, which I did. After doing so, literally within less than a week, I'm driving home, and as I've gone up Tottenham High Road, I noticed Sports Direct put a sign up that they'll be opening the following Tuesday. I was gutted. Anyway, I had to make a decision what I was going to do. In this moment of depression or frustration, I was going through a lot of anxiety. But you can't just go and tell people, you know, Sports Directs are opening up the road, I'm going to die. Anyway, one night I had a dream that I was going to sell paint, which I thought was the most daft thing, because I have absolutely no knowledge about paint, or more than anything, graffiti paint. Anyway, a guy came in asking me for a job. I took him on, and because it was so quiet, every day he'd be sketching on this actual counter, doing like Billy, and saying to me, look, this is for you. And I would look at him and say, what is that about? I never even had a clue that graffiti still carried on. I mean, I remember it from the 80s, and I thought it just vanished. And I always say to people, if you're not in the scene, you will never know about it. Anyway, doing a bit of research, I thought, you know what? This is something I could possibly do. Anyway, I'd done a bit of research. I finally approached a company. I started to buy paint, and the rest of it is history. Basically, I wasn't interested in employing anyone, but this guy, to get rid of him, I said, look, I'll think about it. Give me a time to think about it and we'll decide. But in the meanwhile, I was debating, because I wasn't selling anything in the store, I was going to start doing a market to get rid of the stock. Anyway, the next day he's back again. Bruv, can I have that job? I said, how much you want? Anyway, the money he told me was affordable, and all my plans were is to do a market, so we could do the market together. Anyway, we started to do the market. I managed to accumulate X amount of pounds, which I then rang up a company and said, listen, I want to buy graffiti paint. The guy said to me, listen, I can tell from the way you're speaking to me, you don't really have a lot of knowledge on paint, so I suggest you leave it alone. But I wasn't prepared to leave it there. So what I said to him was, listen, I've got €3,500. I'm going to stick it in your account. Send me paint to that value, which he did. And there it was, the beginning of me selling paint. But what a lot of people didn't realise was that I did have this dream, and I was following my dream and not just going on graffiti paint. And up to now, everything I've done is an escalation of this dream. to the extent where I'm now making the first London brand for the UK.
I'm at VIP Graffiti right now, about to jump on a surprise performance with this guy called Zane. Zane goes to school round here, a big beatbox fan, professing in the art, fan of us, talked to his teachers, performing a little jump out here at VIP. So let's see how he gets on with this. He's around the corner, so let's get it set up. Right, let's get this going. Yo, 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 here they come, here they come. Yo, here they come. You don't know, you don't know. Right, let's get it ready.
Hello, mate. You alright? Hello, brother. What are you saying? Give us a spud. Hello there.
This is his one. This is
Yeah. Hello. Got the whole family here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
telling him, I was speaking to him, gassing him out.
Okay. Okay.
Just a little. Let's see.
Yeah. Is it that bad? Right, mate. What? Yeah, yeah. Are you all together?
No.
What's that? What's that?
Come over here. Come.
Sit in the house. Sit in the house. Come on!
What are you saying, Zane?
Hey!
You've got to come and get some beatbox, man. How are you? You ready to do this? Let's do this.
Once I was here, there was one writer standing here, which I'm not going to give his name, and there was another writer on the other side, and they started talking to each other over the top there, and I'm sitting here listening. Anyway, he bought his paint, come over, paid for it, and he walked out. So the other guy walked around and said to me, "Bruv, who was that?" When I told him his name, he said, "Bruv, you're joking. I used to go out painting with him 20 years ago." They haven't seen each other for 20 years. They stood there talking to each other over the top about something in Berlin or something. He walks out, he comes over absolutely blown away that he actually spoke to one of his old friends. They used to write together. And that's the amazing thing that happens here. Yeah. You know, so, you know, you just can't buy things like that. I think all writers are in tune, because it could be dead and then all of a sudden they're all here together. And I say, "Did you plan to meet here?" "No." And that amazes me, and it doesn't happen once, it happens all the time, which tells me it's like a mating call. All writers sort of come up on the same time of the day and they want to go out and, is it a mood they fall into? Is it a field they get into? But I do notice that, and I always sort of say to people, "Did you plan to meet you?" "No." And then they go off together to paint, and I find that amazing. There's not a lot of sports that can do this. You can't have a tennis player bumping into his mate on the bus or the train, say, "Go on, let's go and have a game of tennis or a game of golf." You know, those things are pre-organised. Whereas graffiti, you can walk into a shop, meet someone, and off they go, three of them, and the joy in their face because they're all going off to have a paint is something that is unexplainable. I am not associated with what goes on out that door. When a customer comes in, I do a lot of recording for Insta. My Insta is crazy. I mean, up to date, I've done over 13,000 posts on Instagram. And if anyone knows anything about statistics, that is a crazy amount. And that's me controlling myself and my iPhone sticking a lot of the times. Sticking. I have to give it a little smack to get it going again. So imagine if it never stuck, how many more it'd be. But once the person walks out this door, what they do, to me, it's not my business. What my business is, they come in, they respect it. I try and respect them. I try and always have the colours in stock, which I believe is the most important thing when a writer comes in, because I believe there's energy within that comes up to pick your colours. You just can't come in and say, I want red, white, blue and blah. You come in, and as you're looking at these colours, the inspiration flows out of you. I watch it. I watch people paint that main wall there, and I watch the moves. And you know what I say? There's more to it than just painting. It's, to me, like a game of chess when they're freestyling. It's a sport when I watch them do the pirouettes to get the circles, or they stretch on their toes. And if what thing I notice, I can always tell a graffiti writer that paints a lot from their calves. Their calves are big, they paint a lot. And that comes from tiptoeing to get the high reaches. I might not paint myself, but I'm very observant. And I know when they're painting here and someone starts asking questions, I'll walk over and say, excuse me, I've paid that guy £500 to do that painting, so please don't stone that. But the real reason is, I know he's in his zone. When a man's in his zone, it's like a game of chess. He's figuring out the next move. How is the colour going to go? How is the curve going to go? And I appreciate all this. That is why I can say there's more to it than just painting. Everyone says, oh, they're just vandals. They're not vandals. I think it's a very intellectual thing that they do. Whether it's bombing, whatever, everything is calculated and crucified.